If you're watching this and you don't have your mix and masters to a high standard, you don't have sound design where it needs to be, where it stands out and people recognize you based on your sounds, taking too long to finish tracks, and you don't have many stockpiled. If that's you, please stop watching this video because this is for more advanced people. This is if you already have all that stuff taken care of and you're ready for that next stage of the industry, which is like building leverage, building the brand, right? So those who do have those things sorted, this is going to be a great video, no fluff, no BS approach on how to actually grow an artist brand to a touring artist level. Now, I'm just going to break it down here on my computer here in terms of how we build artist brands here. So first thing somebody needs is proof of concept. So like those two things I first mentioned, which was sound design, sound identity. Now, when I say sound identity, I don't mean just having good sound design, because anybody can get really good at sound design these days. You just watch a million tutorials and then just replicate. But when I say sound identity, I mean that your sound design is recognizable. Like people know that that's your sound, that's your identity, right? Because anybody can get really good, but it's your taste that separates you from the rest. Because you could have the same technical ability as somebody else, but that taste is what will differentiate between the two, right? So sound design, sound identity, getting that first out of the way so people can actually recognize you and you stand out, because otherwise you sound like everybody else. And if everybody is a freaking producer now and everyone's getting really good, you're going to have to do something different to really take some risks. And the risk taking is what actually gets you to stand out. It's the technical side that just gets you to be able to take the risk. The next thing that we need is the quality. So we need, obviously good mix masters, right? We can't have trash or quiet mixes. It needs to be DJ friendly, like structure-wise, good column response, memorable. Overall quality needs to be there. Next thing that we also need is the volume. You have no idea how many opportunities you're going to miss out if you're releasing multiple EPs or just even one EP and you have nothing left in your back catalog. Let's say you release 4 songs, an EP on a label coming up, and they're going to take maybe 6 months to release it, and that was all the tracks that you had banked up. What are you going to do now? Like, if you're taking months at a time to finish tracks, you're in a bad place because you're going to be playing catch up to try and fill out your catalog again. Comparison to other people who are finishing a full song start to finish in a couple of days. Like industry set students, for example, they finish a full song start to finish, mix and mastered within a week or less consistently. That's your competition. And then there's other guys out there that are doing it within a couple of hours consistently as well, right? So they have the volume. And what is a rejection if it took you only a few hours to make a song? Let's say you sent out a song to a label, you've been spending months at a time to get it really good, and you think it's the best song you ever made, and then you send it out to a label and they reject you, and then you try to release it independently and it doesn't perform well. And now you're like, shit, what am I gonna do? I feel rejected as hell. Because you spent all those months, sunken cost fallacy, that you invested so much time into something that didn't perform well, comparatively to somebody who can finish a full song in a couple of hours. That's nothing to them. They can just make another song. It's literally like a speck of sand to them. So that's who you're competing with. So make sure you have the volume, right? Once you have good sound design, stands out, you've got the quality, and you've got the volume, you're golden to actually tackle the industry. Now, the next thing that we actually need is to build leverage. And so leverage is essentially using one thing to get another thing. Like whatever opportunities you can land, you then use that to get the next thing. And most artists in your niche, whether you're in dubstep, trap, drum and bass, techno, house, whatever, this applies in every industry. I work in every industry. It's not just bass music. Just because my background is bass music does not mean that I am strictly only familiar with that landscape. I've grown clients in all areas and I continue to do so. And the one thing that is very apparent is that leverage is the one thing that will trump everything when it comes to marketing. Because that's the one thing that doesn't change, it's psychology, right? Now, when we're building artist brands, the first thing that happens is that somebody tries to just keep making music and sending it to a mid-tier label. And the problem is that every other person is trying to do the exact same thing. And so if you've got millions of people just keep trying to send music to an A&R label over and over again, the label has too much choice, and labels only can release maybe 30 songs in a year max, maybe if more if they have a compilation releases. But they don't have the bandwidth to release that many songs that they get submitted, because there's more producers than there are labels, literally. Think about it. So doing this does not work. It's not effective. And even if you're trying to get to like maybe a small tier label that is a sub-label of something else, it might not have any utility. Like, you might be better off just self-releasing. Like, what is it actually proving to you? Like, what is it providing? Sometimes nothing. Sometimes you get better results from your own self-releases. Just because it's a label doesn't really mean anything unless it's actually providing some kind of value to you. Anybody can start a label these days. The moment that you upload something to Spotify in your own accord, you technically have your own imprint label. It literally has a slot on there that lets you write in your own label. I digress. What most people don't do, which is what we do in Industry Set, is we go the back end route, which is we find association, we build leverage, and then we go the direct route to the label. So instead of sending it to the A&R email, we found some back alley approach where we've now been introed to the A&R directly, and now we can pitch them as many songs as we want from the artist. And it's not me doing the pitching, it's the artist, because I don't want to provide leverage to somebody else. I want to show them how to make it themselves, so then they can do it for the rest of their career. Because that's what becoming a music producer in this year is about. It's becoming an entrepreneur, an independent entrepreneur, so you can do things on your own terms. Otherwise, you're still getting a bit of gatekeeping if you're still reliant on other people to provide things for you. Like, what we teach and coach people on is building leverage for yourself, essentially. So let's say you've got proof of concept and you've signed to maybe a mid-tier label. The next thing is that we need audience, we need shows, and we need the content, right? And when I say these things, I just mean that you need some sort of online presence to build all of this stuff. And this is where most people end up who are watching this video right now. Most of you are at this level where you've had some mid-tier label releases that have done maybe 50K, 100K or more. And maybe some of you have 1 million and you just don't know how to get to the next slot. And so the thing that most of you are really missing is that you just don't have a personal brand, right? Because like you can have decent audience, you can get shows on your own accord, and you can have some decent content that goes 50K, 100K, whatever, but you still might not have a booking agent or management by this point. Like, if you're looking for some high tier, like UTA kind of booking agency, or maybe like a high tier management, you're gonna need some more ammo here. Like, because the thing is, audience, shows, content, everybody is already doing that as well, and everybody's starting to get better because they realize they can just copy what other people are doing, but there's no originality to that. And eventually that in itself, the content thing that you're seeing right now that you believe is a ticket to stardom, that in itself is going to be so oversaturated in the next year, where everybody is just posting regurgitated content because they can't have a personal brand. And that's why the personal brand thing is something that you need to lock in as soon as possible. Personal branding has been an almost requirement to any high tier artist management from the get-go. The reason being is that that's the one thing that actually gets you to stand out. Think about it. Your sound identity is the thing with your music that stands out. The personal brand is your personality. Your personality is the one thing about you that is completely unique to you. Like, nobody can replicate your personality to a T. Like, everything from your mannerisms to how you behave and your humor, all that stuff is unique to you, and that's why you need to actually flaunt that. Like, you need to 10x and exaggerate the hell out of the things that you are comfortable in doing, or maybe even not comfortable in doing. The personal brand thing, like an example being is, I had a client where she had no outside hobbies besides music. Like, all she did was write music, make music for Sync. Now she's actually working for Universal, by the way. Congrats to her. And she just loves coffee. And I was like, well, let's just make the brand about coffee. So I just got her to post about coffee on her story a religious amount. I'm talking, 5 times a day, every day for weeks. And it got to the point where her audience started to think she was coffee crazed. And you might not think that that's really that interesting, because it's not. But when you over exaggerate something like that, it becomes something. And what happened for Annette is that she started getting her following really engaged and making lots of comments and replying to her stories and dropping comments all over the place about her being coffee crazed, right? And she was posting things about different mugs she has every time she posted something. So that's just a basic example. Like, if she can do that, you can definitely build a personal brand, because that is like, very far-fetched. Like, that's literally just coffee. So anybody can build a personal brand. You just have to be consistent. You need to start getting on your story and posting daily and getting used to flaunting some part of your day or personality that people can connect with. Because your audience, 90% of them are not music producers, unless you're a producer. And so they can't connect with that. Like, somebody who's a normie who doesn't produce music, they don't know what multi-band sidechain compression is. So how can they connect with it? They can't. But if you're posting about regular things that normal human people do, and you're 10 timesing the exaggeration on that, and maybe putting some humor into it if you want to, people can connect with that. They will resonate with that. They will have an emotional reaction to it. And what happens when people have an emotional reaction to things? They take action. They click follow. They leave comments. They share. They save things. People take actions based on emotions, right? So that's what the connection is all about. It's having an emotional connection with your audience. And that is what builds a brand. And then the next thing here is the cult following. And so you might ask yourself, well, how do you get to a cult like following? Isn't that the same thing as building like a really good audience? No, it's quite different actually, because you'll actually notice there's a lot of bigger artist brands that you follow that have a big audience, but it's not a cult-like following. And I'll give you some examples here. So let's say we break down the things we've just built over here. Excuse my writing, I never got my pen license, but just bear with me. Let's say these 3 kind of pillars we've got here. So let's say you're here, right? You have the audience, you're getting shows, maybe some direct support shows that are pretty filled out, right? You get some decent content of that, but you're not really posting consistently and getting high viewership. That's kind of where you're at. You don't have a booking agent, maybe you don't have a management, and you're kind of growing from there. That's where you're at. Let's say personal brand, a good example. Honestly, I'm not a really big fan of his music at all. I'm sure the dude's great. I just don't like his music, and that's okay. But he has a really good personal brand. The reason being is when you think of him, you think of him. Like, that's a good example of personal branding. If you think of an artist and you immediately think of their face, that's because they have really good personal branding, in the sense that they've fully injected their personality into the brand. Sullivan King is, for those who aren't into dubstep, he is like the amalgamation of a rocker slash metalhead slash dubstep raver, right? So he's like all these things combined. And when you see him, he's screaming, he's got long hair, he's got this guitar out on the stage, just shredding it. The personal brand here, it's good, it's really good. But the issue is that he doesn't have a strong cult-like following like some other artists. Like, an example being is Subtronics, or let's say Excision, or maybe even like Rez, or maybe Alice in Wonderland. Let's dissect this for a second. So cult-like following, when I say that, you think of Subtronics. Subtronics used to be smoking weed every single day on his Instagram stories, and he would be representative of those kind of people who, are avid, complete stoners, right? And they love smoking weed and love listening to bass music and love going to festivals, that kind of wook mentality, that lifestyle. People see themselves in Subtronics like that. He started an entire movement. What he's done is amazing. And I don't think it was even intentional. He's just being himself. And that's the best part. Like, he's purely being himself, and he's attracted that tribe of people by just being that person. You know, he's the leader of that movement. He's literally created his own movement, right? And now he's so big that he's building his own like festivals and stuff like that, and his own like takeovers and whatnot. And it's the same thing with the Excision. Excision is a representative of like all headbangers, like people who go to bass festivals. Excision is basically like their leader, right? Rez, for example, when you go to a Rez show, you literally see people wearing her glasses. Like, that is what a strong cult-like following is. Like, Alice in Wonderland, when people go to Alice in Wonderland shows, there is girls literally breaking down emotionally, like crying, like Taylor Swift fans, like to that extent. Like, her fan base is hardcore, you know? So that is what is required to have a cult-like following. Like, it needs to be completely ingrained, where the actual like audience itself is a movement. Like, it has to be a movement. It has to be something that has not been done before in that same way and represents a huge majority of people, right? So that's the difference between these things. Personal brand, I'll give you another example, Dead Mouse. When you think of Dead Mouse, you think of how he's so transparent about what he likes and he doesn't like. You know, he doesn't care, he's not afraid of saying no to things and saying his opinion. Like, he's very opinionative, right? That's his personal brand. He has a voice. Another example is Dylan Francis. When you think of him, he's, you know, a comedian. Like, I can't remember the last time I listened to his music, honestly. But yeah, this is essentially all you need to grow an artist brand to a touring artist level. Like, these main things is what separates you from the rest. If you have all these things, you'll be sweet. But if you're missing one of these things, you won't get to where you want to be. Like, that's why there's so many artists who have really, really good music, they have really good sound design, but they have no personal brand. And so therefore they're kind of just stuck on the lower lineups. And you might be thinking, well, this artist is so good, but it's just because they don't have these things. So if you dial in all these things, you'll be golden. If you're somebody that's still watching this video and you still haven't figured out the sound design, quality, volume, we do help people out in that as well inside Industry Set. But for the most part, like, we try to do a full-on coach experience with growing an artist brand from bedroom level all the way to touring artist level. So if you're somebody that has maybe released on some mid-tier labels and you've got some artist support, and that is some good leverage right there that we can use to then build towards maybe a booking agent or an artist management, then great, hit us up and we can have a chat to see if you're a good fit. You might not be. The only way to find out is to actually have a conversation, because sometimes we have to reject people because they just don't have their production where it needs to be. And we don't work with people if we don't believe we can get them a really good result, because we grow based on results. Like, all we do is just post our results and people see it in our ads and they go, I want that result too. So we're just looking for really good candidates for that. And so if you feel like you fit the bill in terms of somebody that has been, grinding for a couple of years and you feel like you're ready to do something different, to get something different, and you want like proper mentorship and guidance on how to tackle all these kinds of pillars we went over here, and exactly who to email and reach out to build the brand towards a certain label, management, or booking agency, then you belong with us. I'm going to leave a link in the description to actually book in a call with myself or one of the other student advisors, and we'll just have a chat there and see if you're a good fit. But other than that, hope you got a lot of value out of this one. Hit subscribe if you did, and I'll see you in the next one.